Coming up on the CHGO Cubs Podcast, Luzardo off the wish list. Roki still on it. It's the 12 days of Cubsmas and a Festivus for the rest of us. I got a lot of problems with you people, and now you're going to hear about it next. Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs Podcast. It is Monday, December 23rd. We have a hot weekend of action going on. Luke Stuckmeyer, Cody Delmendo with you. Steven running ones and twos. Hi to everybody in the live YouTube chat. We got a lot to break down today. A lot happened over the weekend. We have the 12 days of Cubsmas. What did our true love really give to us this year? And at the end of the show, the annual Festivus airing of grievances.
Which we basically do all the time, but...
Which we do, 5 days a week, but we will do it in one show today. It's our second to last, for the two of us, second to last live show of 2024.
Yeah, we don't have a show tomorrow or on Christmas Day.
Right.
We'll be back on Thursday, and then
right.
Corey and Brennan on Friday.
Brennan on Friday.
So we have 3 shows this week. One today, Thursday and Friday.
Baseball Junkie says, good morning, Merry Christmas. While Mike Grom a little more bitter, he says, fire council, hire Sammy. And Bob Loblaw.
That's a good little transition.
Happy Festivus. That's right. Today is officially Festivus, so we will get to that. I saw Gary was in the chat. Says, I'm playing third base. Yeah, Gary's here. Jesus Luzardo, there was a lot of talk about it. I feel like he was as signed as Jose Abreu was coming to the north side until he wasn't.
How many more shots are you going to take at Bruce?
I'm just waiting. I want to know if Bruce ever watches the show because I want to call from Bruce to be like, hey.
I kind of took a shot at him. It's
not even a shot. I'm just having fun.
It's more just like having fun. But a lot of people could take it as a shot. But when the 670 the score tweet came out last week when Bruce said that trade talks were dead, I was like, wow, from talking deal to working deal to dead.
Yeah.
Jose Abreu and Jesus Luzardo.
To stitching the jersey. Yes, Mike says, no, he was 100% joke. Yeah. Got it.
Mike, I've never seen Mike in here. Welcome.
I've seen Craig, and Gary both saying, hey, it's the Luzardo medicals that threw it off. That's what everybody thinks. Yeah. Phillies weren't as concerned, and they went ahead and pulled the trigger on the deal.
I think it's an incredible deal for the Phillies because they already have Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler, Ranger Suarez. Jesus Luzardo is going to enter the season as their 4th or 5th best starter.
It's a low risk.
I think it's a low risk,
even if he is hurt.
And their best prospect they sent was a shortstop. You know who's playing shortstop for the Philadelphia Phillies for not just next year, but for another 10 years, basically, whatever the deal is. Trey Turner, I feel pretty good about him over at shortstop if I'm a Phillies fan. The Phillies have never been more in win-now mode than ever. I think it's a great deal for them because they didn't have to send, in my opinion, a ton. But for sure, the Cubs could have sent a better deal, even if it didn't involve Owen Casey or James Triantos. I think it came down to just the health risk and all of that, and I'm fine with it. I'm not upset about it. It is what it is. That said, though, as we've talked all offseason, and we've talked about it a lot with the Kyle Tucker trade, there is always going to be risk with a trade or a free agent signing. So if, I guess we'll watch. If Luzardo is healthy all of next season and pitches really well for them and whoever the Cubs get isn't, then I won't sit here in hindsight and be like, this is why we're not playing well. But I will say that it's these are risks. You have to take risks at some point. They have taken some risks this offseason. So, again, I'm not upset about it. It's more about just where do you shift now? I saw Brendan tweet a thread yesterday about Pablo Lopez. I've seen Pablo Lopez's name thrown out there a lot the last couple days. I'm into him. We've talked about Walker Buehler, who signed with the Red Sox this morning.
He's off the market.
You know,
I
there's
like
all
Buehler.
kinds of names.
I liked Buehler in that he didn't cost you prospects. He ended up costing like $20 million for one season, a prove-it deal, a la Bellinger's first deal with the Cubs, and
kind of reminds me of the Noah Syndergaard deal.
Yeah, very high upside if the guy can stay healthy.
Yeah. And I think he can. Like, it's not like he has a history, like a long list of injury history. He just had this one injury that led to him being out for half the season, and he came back and he wasn't necessarily that good. This is definitely a prove it. I'm healthy. I'm still who I was before the injury type situation.
But it would have been about half of the $40 million we talked about last week. If you're just throwing out a random number, hey, do they have about $40 million they could spend because of the Bellinger deal and still wanting to stay under the luxury tax? And it would have been half of that.
And he's definitely slotting in the bottom half of the Red Sox rotation because they're going to have Garrett Crochet, Tanner Houck, Lucas Giolito will be back next year. Bayo, like Buehler's probably that 4 or 5 starter for them. So where the Cubs are now after they signed Matthew Boyd and you got Shota Imanaga, Justin Steele, and Jamison Tyone, the Cubs need a bona fide top 1, top 2 guy, in my opinion. So that's why, like, as much as I would have liked Buehler, listen,
Roki,
yeah, like as much as I liked Buehler and I wouldn't have minded him with the Cubs, considering how they're operating, I'm not upset that we didn't give him $21 million for 1 year. I think he would have been nice depth, and if things had worked out and he outperformed projections, then that looks like a really good deal. But I think with the signing of Matthew Boyd, it's like I thought if they'd signed Buehler, then it was if they would have actually done it, it would have just been another like depth type move. But I still think that it's fine that they didn't do it. There's better options out there, more certainty, and we'll see. I still think the best arms that they can get for sure, Roki, and then they still hanging out there in the trade market. Maybe, I mean, I'm still surprised that Burns hasn't signed, and it's leading me to think that maybe his market's going down. Maybe if they can get him on that low like years.
There's the reality spray.
It's not me.
All I want for Christmas is the reality spray.
It's not me.
I know people are hoping and wishing.
It's not even that. People keep sending me this Twitter account named Mock Bombs. They keep sending it to me, and they're telling me the Cubs have shifted to the Corbin Burns market, and I don't necessarily believe it. But listen, like, let a guy dream about it for a couple days, all right? So I doubt it's going to happen. I would put it at below 2% chance, but he's out there. He's out there, and I think if his market continues to drop and the Cubs can get him on a like less than 5 years, maybe there's an opt out after 1 or 2 years or something. I don't know. I just think that's the only possible scenario if that were to happen. I don't think they would give him an 8 or 9 year deal or whatever he's probably thinking he was going to get going into the offseason. But they have to sign someone, Luke, or they have to trade for someone. They need another arm. I hope it's Roki. I hope it's one of those arms out in Seattle. I hope it could be Pablo Lopez. I'm open to that, right?
Let me ask you this. Number one thing on the top of your Christmas wish list, if you could just make it happen, what is it? Is it Roki? Is it Burns? Is it something else? If you could just snap your
I would
fingers.
put Roki as number one on my list.
Now it's probably Roki because he's cheaper, and we know that finances are a problem for the team. So can you give me Roki for a smaller amount of money that allows me to go spend other places when I need to? That's probably the play. It's a bigger gamble than Burns.
Sure,
because Burns is the proven major leaguer that's like top of the food chain when it comes to starters.
But the upside and the ceiling is so high for a guy like Roki Sasaki, who's so young and hasn't even reached his like potential yet. I mean,
so you want to gamble on the ceiling of Sasaki?
Yeah,
that's what we do.
Because I mean, we've seen the floor before. It's Daisuke Matsuzaka. you never know what you're really going to get.
Yeah.
Sure.
Whereas the ceiling or even the floor of Corbin Burns, we know is so high.
Yeah.
And you know it's a proven commodity at that point.
His floor is strictly the financial part of it for a team that shouldn't have financial problems, but wants to for some reason, right? Like that's the reality of it. Like the only negative to Corbin Burns is the amount of money, and it shouldn't hamstring a organization like the Cubs, but if they're going to put that restriction on themselves, it does.
Yeah. When they have roughly $40 to $50 million to play with before going over the luxury tax tier, the first tier luxury tax, right? So,
Right.
And they still need to improve the bullpen. So, I mean, we're technically thinking realistically here. I think if there's another arm on the free agent market not named Roki that I'm kind of into is Jack Flaherty, but there is injury concern with him. But how many more pitchers? How many more pitchers are we going to talk about that has injury concern? You know what I mean? That's why, to me, the trade market is still like probably where you can get the most upside for a cost-controlled arm. Like I said, Brennan tweeting out the Pablo Lopez thread yesterday got me thinking. They've been linked to Seattle multiple times this offseason. But yeah, you're gonna have to send someone. You're gonna have to send a haul probably for any of those guys. So it comes down to taking the risk.
Niran in the live YouTube chat makes a great point. He said Burns would also cost you 2 picks and money in the bonus pool, which the bonus pool I believe could potentially.
Yeah.
Roki is the better option because of what it means for this team. If they've identified Kyle Tucker as their superstar player, then the best way to get Kyle Tucker re-signed and on a long-term deal for the Cubs is for value plays like Roki to turn out, to choose them and give them a cheap option at 1 and 2. And then you have Steele, who's inexpensive. And then you have Shota, who's an affordable deal. And then potentially you have Shaw at third base on a cheap contract.
Cade Horton.
And at first, potentially you have a cheap option. And maybe Horton. You need like 7 guys to be giving you super value because we've decided we're a mid-market team. We need like 7 value guys exceeding projections so that we can have the one guy, Kyle Tucker, maybe get the – I mean, really, that's sort of – if you're asking for a plan for what the Cubs seem to be showing you, that's sort of it.
Yeah.
Exceed projections on affordable deals and then hopefully roll the dice on Kyle Tucker or let Kyle Tucker go, and then that's even more frustrating.
Yeah. While what you're saying I don't disagree with, and while it kind of comes off as like a pessimistic view because of how the team is operating.
It's my middle name.
Like, we do need to see Matt Shaw play,
Mm-hmm.
right? We need to see Matt Shaw play. We need to see some of these other guys play so we can figure out what they are. So I think there's a little bit of a middling ground that I think fans can find a way to come between with or come to acceptance with. But I get it. Based off the last 5 years of being a fan of this organization, it's hard to do that in terms of like how they're operating with the payroll and stuff like that. I wish it was possible to just go sign one of the big free agent arms and Roki. You know, I've had a few people in my mentions on Twitter say something along the lines of like, it feels like the Cubs are waiting for Roki, and if they wait too long, there might not be anyone
January,
left.
yeah, that's
and like
Roki
basically said that he's like, or like his agent basically said it's going to be like mid-January when that news comes out. And so, you know, I get it, but I feel like best case scenario, and maybe it's my Delulu, but like if they trade for a Pablo Lopez and add Roki,
right, yeah.
That's a really good offseason to go with Kyle Tucker and Matthew Boyd.
Closer.
Well, yeah. Well, if you trade for a guy like Pablo Lopez, or whoever on the trade market, you'll still have plenty of money to use on the bullpen.
That's the question is when it comes around to like the 15th of January or whatever that date is, when Roki's going to make his decision, how many of the other options will still be there? Will Flaherty be there? Will the trade options for Castillo be there?
Yeah.
And how do they value all those? We'll talk about it more in a second, including some of the other big moves from over the weekend and the 12 days of Cubsmas in just a second. But first, our great sponsors. With Empire Today, you get to shop at home convenience, the right product for your needs, quick and professional installation, and a low price guarantee. Empire today is the best place to get new flooring, so of course they have copycats, but Empire cannot be beaten on quality, service, speed, and so competitors then try to advertise low-quality products that Empire just won't even carry. Empire's not going to promise you the lowest prices because anybody that does that is putting flooring in your home that they wouldn't put in theirs. Empire's philosophy is to help you find what you need, not overwhelm you with thousands of choices and substitutes. They have a virtual floor designer, too. Great way to see how the new floors are going to look in any space. It's just easy. Snap a picture, instantly see how those new floors will look in your room. You can shop for floors at the big box store, but that can be frustrating because you might be talking to somebody that was working in plumbing yesterday, selling Christmas trees the day before that. Flooring is all Empire does. They live and breathe it. And if an issue does come up, all you got to do is call Empire. They service their own warranties themselves. You don't have to track down the manufacturer. Schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners can receive a discount of $350 when they use the promo code CHGO. $350 off using CHGO. Restrictions apply. See empiretoday.com/CHGO for details. Hey guys, with HelloFresh, you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. And affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Every HelloFresh recipe includes high-quality, sustainably sourced ingredients like produce that comes fresh from the farm. There's always something for everyone to enjoy on HelloFresh's weekly menu with 50 chef-crafted recipes to choose from every week, plus customizable options to make your meals just the way you like them. You'll be able to easily satisfy every craving in the household. So get 10 free meals at HelloFresh.com/freeCubs. Applied across 7 boxes. New subscribers only. Varies by plan. That is 10 free HelloFresh meals. Just go to HelloFresh.com/freeCubs. HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit. Great around the holidays. Save you a lot of work. Everybody will think it's homemade.
Absolutely.
That's the way to do it.
Before we get to the 10 days of Cubsmas.
Yeah, I don't have 12 yet, so I'm going to need a little help on that.
I am curious about your thoughts when you saw that the Cubs had the meeting with Roki, because I don't believe he's meeting with every team.
Right.
And I think it's a big deal. I think it's a big deal, the fact that he took the meeting with the Cubs, and now, to me, it's like Roki Sasaki is Jed Hoyer's dream. Cost-controlled, cheap, and has a ceiling of being a #1 and #2 starter. That is Jed Hoyer's dream. I mean, I think that Jed Hoyer's been thinking about this for months because he probably knew.
Ticket. Yes. It's the lottery ticket to maybe saving his job.
Right.
Right?
And he has to remember, they almost had Ohtani years ago. The Cubs were the only National League team that Ohtani even gave an opportunity to that years ago. Of course, there was no DH at the time, and I think that played a factor in his decision going to the Angels. This is Jed's moment. I know that him trading for Tucker is something that we will talk about all year and this and that, but I just feel like this potential signing is just right up Jed Hoyer's alley. And I mean, I just hope that whatever they said to him, I just don't want to feel like it's a missed opportunity when it comes down to it. If he ends up going to the Dodgers, then fine. I think I can get past it. But if he signs with a team that no one's talking about, I'm going to be a little annoyed. We were talking about it before the show, and you said, I think their path is telling him he can be a bigger star. But if he goes to the Dodgers, you're never going to be bigger than Ohtani. Yeah. I just say, whatever it is, I hope they did their research. Let's say he's shy and he doesn't want to be a star. Then that's not the pitch you want to give him. Right. You can say, come to Wrigley. Everybody's happy. Look at the sunshine. Shoda's going to steal the spotlight. Seiya's going to make you feel good. And Wrigley Field's going to be the star, and you'll be part of it. Don't go to L.A. where everybody's going to – TMZ is going to chase you around town. You know what I mean? They've got to do their research and know exactly who he is and what's going to make him think, why not the Cubs? Mm-hmm. Right? So I hope they made the right pitch, first of all. I think the funniest thing that came out of Jed Hoyer's press conference last week was the very end of it when the reporter asked, did you make a presentation to Roki? And Jed was like, he made this
squealing little like I'm not gonna. I can't say anything about Roki.
Then he like put up like he became a meme.
Sorry, you can't do it.
Shout out to Jeff Everson.
But it was like if you could interpret what that giggle was, it was like, I'm not going to say anything. This is my lottery ticket. I'm not scratching it off yet. Right?
Yeah.
So let's see.
It would certainly getting Roki would certainly shift the Cubs win total up on the Vegas odds, and just it would give them a lot of opportunity to head to 90 plus wins.
Right.
That's all I can say in terms of projections and all that. He certainly would put them in position to head closer to that projected 90 win total. And yeah,
I would say that none of the video, if they're smart, none of the video that they sent in this presentation includes Shota wrapped up or Seiya wrapped up in April and May, freezing at Wrigley. However, you might have Tom Skilling, America's former #1 meteorologist, on there saying the wind was blowing in at Wrigley every day last year.
Yeah.
No ballpark has the wind blowing in more than Wrigley Field.
Right.
They're sticking with it as a team.
I think, selling Wrigley in Chicago, it sells itself. To me, that's easy. But you have to sell him on the direction, where they want to be in 2024, and obviously, like what you said in terms of like how to pitch to him. Does he want to be a star? Does he want to be the biggest Japanese player in the market? Like, when it comes to the Dodgers, does he want to be overshadowed by Yamamoto and Ohtani? Here in Chicago, I think, Seiya and Shota are popular players, but I think Roki would overshadow them. I really do. And, does that matter to him? These are all things I wish I knew, but I don't. So all I know is that I might shed a few tears if they sign him. Legitimately.
There'd be a beer bat chug. There's no question about that. Hey, one thing we have to, with Steven here, noted Sox fan, it's okay. We still love him. Eloy to the Rays on a minor league deal. Thanks, Sox.
Did you say a minor league deal?
Minor league deal.
Oh,
Thanks,
God.
Sox. That's how that one's turned out.
Yeah. That wasn't a win for anybody.
At worst case, it's a draw for the Cubs. And what once looked like, oh, wow, that's one of the worst trades in franchise history, now looks like, whatever.
All I can say is, what a fall.
Not that Cease was a bad guy, but you had a guy that pitched in the postseason and won games for you in the postseason. Yeah. So at least it was that.
I just think it's honestly kind of a sad fall.
Oh,
the guy had all the potential in the world.
Number 4 prospect in baseball. Yeah. I mean, people were projecting him for 40-plus home runs every single year. There was a year he was talking about being MVP one day after Jose Abreu won his.
Remember all the high moms early on in the dugout? It's why, like you said, top 5 prospect in all of baseball. It's why you can't be a prospect humper. Yeah. It's why eventually you've got to pick the right prospects and hit on that. You can't trade the wrong ones, but you got to trade the right ones.
Yeah. That said, him going to the Rays is probably the best opportunity for him to really finally figure it out, because I still think there's something in there, but I think the biggest thing for him has always been about health. He's never healthy.
Yeah.
So if he can find a way to be healthy in Tampa Bay, and they work their Houdini stuff that they always work on guys because they're the Rays.
This is the scariest outcome as a Sox fan, because you're right. Whatever it is they do over, there's something in the water in Tampa Bay. I don't know. They're going to turn him around. The Sox are going to look like idiots again.
He'll be a DH.
Yeah. You're right.
They won't try him in the outfield. They won't
put him in right field.
Yeah. So, for the sake of the player and the potential that, not just, White Sox missed out on, but just general baseball fans, I hope he figures it out there, because there's just too much talent there for him to just be what he's been.
I mean, I don't know which one's crazier. Is Tim Anderson completely out of baseball? He's in counseling?
Yeah.
But out of baseball, right?
That fall from grace, pick any guy in the Sox right now, it just kind of seems that way. But that fall from grace
Moncada, Tim Anderson, Eloy.
Wow, yeah. Moncada will probably get another deal. He'll get another deal. But
But those three plummeted.
Yeah. I mean,
the one has obviously Cubs connections, and it's why I said back in the day, a couple years ago, the Moncada trade, which was ridiculous, which would have given Ian Happ to the Sox.
You're hypothetical.
And wisdom. You guys didn't want it. Turns out it was a good move.
I said it at the time. I wanted it.
You were the one. Yeah.
Luke Hoyer tried just giving them away, and I tried
to give guys away. Eventually, if Tim Anderson wants to play baseball, somebody's going to roll the dice on it again, aren't they?
Minor league deal, probably.
I mean, he went from the game in Iowa, like superhero moment.
Yeah.
Face of baseball, Team USA, like DeRosa bragging about how great he is, to literally out of the game in a year.
A little over that.
Well, he was with the Marlins last year. I remember he came to Wrigley. Me and Braggs had the sign. Everyone got pissed off about it, even though it was a joke. And then I think he was DFA'd within a month or two after.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
His contract is at one point looked at as a bargain.
Yeah.
Then it became a hindrance.
They all were.
And now he doesn't have a contract. Yeah.
What if Robert falls into that same?
All right.
Not to turn this into the Sox pod today.
That's going to the Cubs now. That's enough of that.
Jock Peterson signs a deal with the Rangers. Bat for hire.
Yeah. I said off air that he's become like the new Nelson Cruz.
Yeah.
Like he just kind of moves around and goes and hits bombs. He's a solid bat.
Gets slapped in the face by somebody.
Yeah, gets slapped in the face by Tommy Pham.
over fantasy football. I like Jock Peterson on the Cubs, though. I don't
for the half season we had him. Sure, yeah, he was fine
with that.
I mean, it doesn't necessarily make sense for the Cubs now, so whatever. But yeah, he continues to have value, especially against right-handed pitching.
I know that in the new year, I do want to explore with people from other markets in the division what they think has happened this offseason. Like, I don't see there's any way you can look at the Brewers and think to yourselves that they've improved their team this offseason. I mean, how could you? Yeah. Right? So where is that shift happening? Some of these moves are interesting, Jock Peterson, the Rangers, but I haven't heard of anything super exciting within the division. Goldschmidt is gone. So he's the Yankees. Now, Goldschmidt's a guy that obviously has declined, just like Arenado, but he's also a guy that if he had one more bounce back year, could be a great value for a team.
Yeah. See,
he basically takes Rizzo's role.
Right.
Who's also still
of the teams in the division that I just don't really understand what they're doing. And I think they need to get Arenado off the board to then maybe do some things. The Cardinals are the team that I just don't understand what they're doing. Because it's not like they don't have some talent. They need better pitching for sure. And they're not bringing back, like I think Sonny Gray's still there. Heard he was on the market, but he has no trade clause. Why would Sonny Gray want to continue to be there considering they let Goldschmidt walk? They're literally trying to send Arenado anywhere. Astros blocked the trade. They signed Christian Walker instead. And, you know, I personally don't know what's going on there, but they do have some talent. I still think Jordan Walker can be that number one prospect, that guy down like at some point. But there is like you just said about prospects, you just never know. But Mason Wynn is a stud there. They still have Lars Nootbaar. They still have Brendan Donovan, right? But I don't understand about the pitching. Wilson Contreras going to play first base for them next year. But overall, I just don't really understand what they're doing. And the fact that they have like no leverage for Arenado.
Yeah, who did he turn down a trade to?
Houston.
And
then Houston signed Christian Walker
after
that trade was blocked. And so, like, I don't know, man. Like, in terms of the division, I think right now you can make the argument that the Cardinals could finish last next year.
I thought that last year. Well, then they finished with the same record as the Cubs, did they not?
Yeah.
83. I don't know. A lot of people jumping ahead to the Festivus. It's later in the show, folks. People want the airing of grievances. A lot of people want to do the airing of the grievances right now, and I don't blame you. It's coming up, as well as the 10 or 12 days of Cubsmas is on the way. But
also,
first, I
was going to say also Manaea going back to the Mets too is big.
So there's another guy.
I don't think the Cubs were ever into him, but like he was really good with the Mets last year, and they definitely need
good
pitching.
value.
So I think it's for them at least, and how much Steve Cohen doesn't care about spending money. I think that's a good deal for them.
All right, let's talk about our sponsors real quick, and we'll get back to it. Cody, did you know that ComEd can help businesses save money by becoming more energy efficient?
I didn't know ComEd did that, Luke.
Yeah. The energy efficiency program can help find up to 35% in energy savings.
Wow. So what do businesses have to do?
That's the amazing part. All you have to do is sign up for a free facility assessment at comed.com/biz.
So why aren't more businesses doing it?
All I can think of is maybe they forgot the website.
Maybe. ComEd.com/biz. ComEd.com/biz. ComEd.com.
That should do it, Cody. Terms and conditions apply. Offers are subject to change. Actual savings will vary by customer's energy usage and rate. The ComEd Energy Efficiency Program is funded in compliance with state law.
With 2025 right around the corner, now is your chance to save big on your next vehicle, Luke. The model year in sales event is going on at Ray Chevrolet. Head in today to shop their huge selection of new Chevy models with special model year end prices. Right now, take 10 to 20% off MSRP on select new Chevy models, or shop over 125 of their vehicles priced under $20,000. As one of the top selling Chevy dealers in the Midwest, you'll always be able to shop one of Chicagoland's largest Chevy inventories. Visit our partner this December at their location on Route 12 in Fox Lake or at raychevrolet.com. And if you've heard of Ray Chevrolet, then you've also heard of Ray's Price Promise, the guarantee to make your next vehicle more affordable than ever with no price changing, no add-ons, and no hidden fees ever. Shop the model year event sales event all month long by visiting Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or raychevrolet.com.
Kyle Son says, are you guys going to wrestle? Because Festivus isn't over until somebody gets pinned. That is true. We might thumb wrestle.
I'm going to give you a nice RKO out of nowhere.
Thumb wrestle. We'll just thumb wrestle it.
We're going to twiddle each other's thumbs.
Twiddle each other's thumbs. That's another show. That's CHGO After Dark.
With Braggs.
With Braggs. So we're talking about all the things that happened. One that we didn't get a chance to talk about because it happened after our podcast. Corey and Brendan did. It's number one on my 10 days of Cubsmas. And do you know what I'm going to say? On the first day of Cubsmas, my true love gave to me Sammy coming back to Wrigley. Huh? You were excited by this. I know you. We weren't on the podcast, but you were out there on social. You were the TikTokies and all those things you were doing.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about it?
I mean, it's about dang time, man. Mm-hmm. It's about to, it's the first step. And listen, Sammy said what he had to say. I never thought he had to say it. He doesn't owe anyone an apology, in my personal opinion. But he said what he had to say so Tom and the rest of them could just be like, all right, come to Cubs convention.
And still said it without specifically saying it, but it was pretty clear what he was saying.
He admitted to making mistakes.
I try and get healthy.
I don't care. You cannot tell the story of the Chicago Cubs without Sammy Sosa. He created an entire generation of fans. I do not care what anyone thinks about the steroids, how he exited the team, the one bad day. What in 2004? I promise you, I say it to this camera right now. I do not care. Cry some more about it. All right. The guy you cannot tell the story of this organization without Sammy Sosa. And I'm not saying that he should, in my personal opinion, I would put him in the Cubs Hall of Fame. But the fact that he's just been exiled from the organization the last 20 years, is a joke. It's a joke. So the fact that it finally happened, you were in the process of making amends. I think Cap said it really well on the Recap Cubs podcast with Gordon Whitmire. He gave a lot of credit to our friends at Club 400 and Joe Johnson of Obvious Shirts, who had the Sammy Sosa event at Club 400 back in September. And Sammy, I was there.
You embraced him.
I was there with Emma, and he was there. He talked to all the fans. He did a whole Q&A there, and it kind of felt like it was the first step. So again, I'm not saying he was perfect. I'm not saying that he didn't make mistakes. In my opinion, I wouldn't have asked him to ever apologize for anything because it's not like other organizations haven't embraced guys who were part of the steroid era. But the fact that it went on as long as it did was just ridiculous because you can go look at the attendance for the Cubs after 1998 and before 1998. The Cubs became who they are because of Sammy Sosa, in my opinion. And like the numbers say it and all of it. So I expect when he's at Cubs convention, there'll be a lot of cheers and a big roar. I also expect there to be some boos. And you know what? More power to you. I don't care. But at the end of the day, he deserves to be part of the organization. You should be able to go to Wrigley Field once, twice a year, throw out a first pitch, sing the stretch, whatever. Run out to right field with the American flag, whatever.
End your podcast with the kiss.
Yes. Right? Like, the fact that he was completely exiled from the organization was an absolute joke. The fact that that is finally over, it's about dang time. So, yes, I was happy about it. Yes, I was excited about it. And
for the record,
we'll see how things go moving forward. Again, I think he belongs in the Cubs Hall of Fame. I think he belongs on, he deserves to have his number retired. I'd put a statue outside of Wrigley Field of him.
Oh.
Like, all of it. He is who he is. I don't even need to tell you the numbers. And I don't need to tell you the impact. He deserves all of that, in my opinion. But this is the first good step, and I will take it. If they decide to never put up a statue or retire the number, I'll probably find a way down the road to find a reason to complain about it. But this is the very least they could do. This is the very least. Because if the Giants are going to retire Barry Bonds' number, if the Cardinals are going to retire or they're going to put Big Mac Land at Busch Stadium and also put him in the Cardinals Hall of Fame, then Sammy Sosa can be part of the Cubs organization.
I also, just for the record, because it's been reported on a lot, your embrace with Sammy at Club 400 was just the right time. It wasn't excessive. It wasn't uncomfortable. I want to put out there that I thought it was an appropriate amount of time. I know it's been reported on a lot by a lot of different
people
outlets.
Are saying?
Yeah, people are talking about it. I don't think there's going to be a Sammy statue because they will get out of it by saying it's only for Hall of Famers because they only have statues of Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
So unless the Hall of Fame views Sammy in the same forgiving way, which seems even more unlikely, I think they...
Well, he's not even on the ballot anymore, is he?
Right. So I don't think that's ever...
It would have to be like the committee.
It would have to be the Veterans Committee. And so I don't think so.
Yeah.
But it would be the easiest one to craft, right? We talked about Rhino should be hitting, should he be fielding or whatever. Sammy would be the hop.
Right.
I mean, it's as easy of a statue as the Jordan.
Yeah.
Right? Like Jordan is the Jordan logo and Sammy would be the hop. It couldn't be easier.
There was nothing more electric than watching the highlight of Michael Jordan throwing out the first pitch in that playoff game in 98 and throwing it to Sammy Sosa at home plate. Like nothing gives me more chills. That's not true. A lot of things give me more chills. But in terms of just like nostalgia and looking back at some of the iconic moments that have happened in this city, when you think about it 20 years down the road, it's like, wow, we had that kind of star power in that moment and that at that time. And again, you cannot tell the story of the Chicago Cubs without Sammy Sosa, man. He said he made some mistakes. Whatever. Great. So did a lot of people, man. So did a lot of people.
Godfather wants the statue of cork flying out of his bat. Not surprising.
Yeah. Again, I do expect there to be some boos. I expect there to be some people who are not happy about this, and that's fine. That's how you want to feel. Fine. Just know that I don't care.
David Snyder says, Luke, rules were made to be broken. Break them for Sammy is a worthy reason. Okay, I'm fine with all of it. I don't care what happens. I hope he does. It'll be fun if he shows up to Cubs convention.
No, that's the thing.
I mean, that's the plan. He hasn't accepted yet, right? I heard Tom say we hope he comes.
Oh, yeah.
But we know
that's the statement.
We know it's a tight turnaround.
It would.
He's got a lot going on.
I would expect him to be there.
I would too.
Because the statement came out, like Sammy put that statement out, and then Ricketts put out the statement almost immediately.
Right.
So
it
was almost like behind the scenes they were talking. Right. And that's why I give a lot of credit to the Club 400 and Joe Johnson from Obvious Shirts for putting that event together and back in September. So
steroids made the game fun, says Shane. That is true. Cody says that all the time.
Steroids were awesome.
So even though the Cubs did take down their Christmas tree at Wrigley Field apparently a few days early, we are going to do the 10 days of Cubsmas. I couldn't come up with 12 fast enough because I didn't have the time this morning. Here's what I got. On the first day of Cubsmas, my true love gave to me Sammy coming back to Wrigley. What's next? On the second day of Cubsmas, my true love gave to me Madrigal at the corner and Sammy coming back to Wrigley. On the third day of Cubsmas, my true love gave to me 3 Bethy bombs while Cody compared him to Barry. Madrigal at the hot corner and Sammy coming back to Wrigley.
Christian Bethencourt, shout out.
Bethencourt, nice done. On the fourth day of Cubsmas, my true love gave to me 4 ice cold blue moons, 3 Bethy bombs, Mags at the corner, and Sammy coming back to Wrigley. On the 5th day of Cubsmas, my true love gave to me, for Godfather, 5 blown saves a week, 4 Bethy bombs, Mags at the corner, and Sammy coming back to Wrigley. On the 6th day of Cubsmas, my true love gave to me Braggs and Cody on a Friday, 5 blown saves a week, 4 Bethy bombs, Mags at the corner, and Sammy coming back to Wrigley. On the 7th day of Cubsmas, my true love gave to me Dansby's bum knee, Cody on a Friday, 5 blown saves, 4 Bethy bombs, Madrigal at third, and Sammy coming back to Wrigley. On the 8th day of Cubsmas, my true love gave to me 8 earns a gold glove, Dansby's bum knee, Cody on a Friday, 5 blown saves a week, 4 Bethy bombs, Mags at the corner, and Sammy coming back to Wrigley. You can drink every time I do that. On the 9th day of Cubsmas, my true love gave to me 9 different save guys, 8 with the gold glove, Dansby's bum knee, Cody on a Friday, 5 blown saves a week, 4 Bethy bombs, Mags at the corner, and Sammy coming back to Wrigley. On the 10th day of Cubsmas, my true love gave to me a meeting with Roki, 9 different save guys, 8 with a gold glove, Dansby's bum knee, Cody on a Friday, 5 blown saves a week, 4 Bethy bombs, Madrigal at the corner, and Sammy coming back to Wrigley. Let's do 11. On the 11th day of Cubsmas, my true love gave to me Kyle Tucker in right, a meeting with Roki, 9 different save guys, 8 with a gold glove, Dansby's bum knee, Cody on a Friday, 5 blown saves, 4 Bethy bombs, Madrigal at the corner, and Sammy coming back to Wrigley. I couldn't get to 12. I just couldn't do it.
If that wasn't the greatest moment of this month, at least,
I'm going to tell you right now, I'm exhausted.
That was a lot of hard work and energy.
Gary
Credit
says,
you.
how much Sunnyside has Luke taken this morning?
Well, he loves those chocolates that
Listen,
we talk about a lot.
It was coming up with this list about 10 minutes before the show started, or it was the Stucky Claus reenactment from last year, and I didn't have the heart for Stucky Claus this year. Couldn't do it.
Yeah, I don't really blame you for not having Stucky Claus this year.
What could be, what if I missed 12, what could the last one be? Braggs down an escalator. Oh, no, that was harsh. No. Council not fighting. What do we got?
We didn't use a pitcher, really.
Bush homered in 6. Bush could have been 6 straight games. Was it 6 straight games? 5 straight games?
Yeah, but then
I don't ever remember that number.
You need a better one for the last one.
Gary says this song. Craig says, "Is it over?" Kyle Son, forever. Niren, who wrote that? Niren, I just told you, I wrote it 4 minutes before the show started.
Yeah.
Cut me some slack. Hey, Gary, I'd like to see you put one out on social media.
Put it in the Discord, Gary.
By the way, Hoosiers. Ooh, yuck, Gary. Yikes. That was rough, huh? That was rough. Anyways, we still have what everybody's really waiting for. It was not the 11 days of Cubsmas. It is the Festivus for the rest of us, and it's coming up on the CHGO Cubs podcast. But first, more great sponsors, Cody.
Yeah, Game Time is focused on togetherness this holiday season. That means when you bring people together at live events, the experience is that much better. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. They got the seat views. They give you a panoramic view from your seat on the app before you buy, the lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110%. Listen, Derrick Rose being honored right at the beginning of the new year, basically, at the United Center. Big time. Also, we have, like, the event.
We get the
event.
But Rose takeover, the Hawks one is sold out, too.
If you can't come to the event, then, there's Game Time. You can go to the game that way.
I was hoping that, Brass would give me one of those spots for the Rose as a holiday gift.
Same
holiday gift. Why don't you join us in the?
Yeah, I'm the same. But again, if you can't go to it, maybe you can't afford it. Maybe I don't know. Concerts at Wrigley next year. Post Malone going to be at Wrigley next year. I've been eyeing that one. Yeah, you can do it all on Game Time. Makes it so easy. Again, they'll credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account. Use code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account. Redeem with code CHGO for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time.
And Sammy coming back to... Oh, sorry. We are sponsored by Chicago Sports Network, the new home of the Blackhawks, Bulls, and White Sox games. CHSN will broadcast more than 300 live games across the Blackhawks, Bulls, and White Sox, and will feature a full lineup of original Chicago-focused sports content. They're also Chicago-based, Chicago-built, and Chicago to the core, and bringing it to every corner of Chicago across 77 neighborhoods and beyond at CHSN. Chicago comes first. Visit chsn.com for more information on how to watch the Bulls, Blackhawks, and Sox games all season long.
Also, when's the Winter Classic game at Wrigley?
It's usually January 1st, isn't it?
Is it January 1st?
I think it's New Year's Eve.
Is it New Year's Eve?
It's New Year's Eve this year? It used to be always New Year's Day.
I'm not a big hockey fan, so I haven't been
I was in Washington when the Hawks played. I spent my New Year's in Washington when they played.
Personally, I'm a little annoyed that they're having
like
the Winter Classic at Wrigley because I like going to Chris Kendall Market there every year. But
New Year's Eve this year. Interesting, not New Year's Day. Well, the problem they had when I was in Washington was they were worried that the sun was going to melt the ice. That's the problem with the day's games. You forget that the sun has some impact on that stuff. Anyway,
Game Time, you can get your ticket to that too. Which I've seen an outline of what it looks like inside Wrigley for that. Looks pretty sick.
I did not go. I've never been to the Winter Classic at Wrigley. I went to the game. I also went to the game they played at Soldier Field against the Penguins.
Oh, okay.
So that was what do they call that? The outdoor series. Anyways, it is now time for what everybody's been waiting for. Once a year, the great moment right here at CHGO Cubs.
The tradition of Festivus begins with the airing of grievances. I got a lot of problems with you people.
Did we air grievances
last year? Now you're going to hear about them.
I don't remember airing grievances last year.
We have done it before.
Yeah.
I don't know. We ran out of time. Stucky Claus was last year.
Yeah.
So I don't remember if we did the
Well, the thing is that last year there was less going on than right now.
Yeah, and it has to time out with the 23rd being a day we have a show.
Yeah.
Because the actual day for Festivus is the 23rd of December.
I just don't necessarily
Festivus, the rest of us.
Anyway.
All right. We got our airing of grievances. What do you I'm just going to do this for Godfather. The airing of grievances, no closer. You want to have a problem with the Cubs? Here's the problems with the Cubs. 83 wins back-to-back seasons. So far, they still have not done enough to move me off that number. Still hasn't happened. Doesn't mean it can't happen. I hope that replacing Bellinger with Tucker is enough to make that move for me. It's not until they spend the money that they saved on Bellinger.
Sure.
That's my big grievance right now. So far, it hasn't happened. And you're still holding on to prospects like they're gold.
Sure.
And we just saw the last three guys that used to be your number one prospect. Who are they? Braylon Marquez?
Brendan Davis.
Brendan Davis, and Adbert Alzolay. Okay? So don't hold on to him too long.
Yeah.
Pick the one that you think is going to be great, or two that's going to be great. Hang on to him.
So should, like, Kyle in the chat says angrier voices. So, like, should I yell? Like, I don't remember doing this in the past.
Sure, I was doing that on behalf of Godfather. I don't really.
Well, I feel like Godfather totally would have yelled a little bit. Little passion.
Yeah. I mean, I just sang an 11 stanza song. How much screaming do you want me to do? I got to have some voice left.
Okay. I mean, we might as well do this rant one more time. The fact that you didn't even call Juan Soto. I mean, the fact that we're not calling Juan Soto, man. I mean, what are we doing? Listen, I like Kyle Tucker. I advocated for that trade. But listen, man, now we're going to spend the next year probably asking, begging. Do I need to get on my knees and beg for this organization to give the biggest contract extension that they will undoubtedly ever give out? Because if you trade for a guy like Kyle Tucker and you don't re-sign him, man, if Cam Smith goes on to be great, man, Cubs Twitter will just continuously bring it up. And, like, I mentally just don't want to deal with that more than anything else, right? Like, this, I advocated for the trade because the Cubs should be going and making moves like this. But when you're not even calling Juan Soto and you're not in on Corbin Burns and you didn't even try with Max Fried, listen, man, a lot of us have a lot of concerns. So we went and got the superstar, but are you going to shell out the money? We're not even at the luxury tax right now. I don't know where things will be at in a year, but all I'm saying is that it's absolutely fair for every single fan in this YouTube chat who's listening on the podcast form, wherever you are listening to this, watching this, it's absolutely fair for anyone to have concern about getting a contract extension now with Kyle Tucker because you're not calling Juan Soto when he's out there. You're not. I can go down the long laundry list of other names that you've passed on in the past that you didn't even try. At least you tried with Shohei Ohtani. I'll give you that. At least you tried with Shohei Ohtani. But, didn't ever try with Aaron Judge, Corey Seager, Bryce Harper, Manny Machado. Like, I like the direction of where this organization is headed. I do. But we could be in a lot better spot if we just, actually participated at the top of the free agent market like all the other big market teams do. So it's put up or shut up. It's prove us all wrong. Tom, Joe, and the other one that keeps tweeting about the state of Nebraska, Pete. Like, all I'm saying is the ball is in your court. The ball is in your court. And if you're going to charge one of the most expensive experiences in baseball on a yearly basis, gonna charge me and Braggs 13
you go for free.
Well, CHGO ain't paying for my beers at Wrigley Field.
That's
okay.
True.
If I'm gonna go to Wrigley as many times as I do a year because I love Wrigley and all of that, and I'm gonna support this organization, the least you could do is at least show that you care a little bit more. And I think that's all fair for me to say. And I think that it is about time that this organization start acting like the big market team that they are. That is, if there is nothing else, if that is not the biggest thing that Cubs fans could complain about right now, I don't know what is, because they've passed on so many dudes, and now you finally got a dude, but now the anxiety, the concern has shifted to, well, they're not going to pay him. I'd like to feel like we're going to pay guys. I really would. I really would like to feel like we're going to pay guys, especially when you gave up a pretty decent haul for Kyle Tucker. To me, it's unfortunate that we now have to sit here for the next year and question, will they do whatever it takes? Because it's not even just Cam Smith. Isai Paredes, I won't be surprised if he hits 25 to 30 bombs next year in that ballpark, right? Hayden Wisniewski, I still think he has upside. So it's a trade that will define Jed Hoyer's career, in my opinion, as president of the Cubs. So
I've got two that I'd like to get out. Well, if you want to count Madrigal at third, that's another one. in the honor of Festivus, which is what we're doing, the airing of grievances, there's also the feats of strength. Could we have one guy hit 30 home runs? Could we have a 40 home run hitter on this team, please? The whole game is about home runs. We can't even get a guy to hit 30 home runs on it. Maybe it's Kyle Tucker. But this franchise has begged for power since we started this podcast 3 years ago. Begged for it. Get Sammy to go to let Sammy show up, accept the invitation, and let him show these guys how to hit home runs at Wrigley Field. I don't care what he has to show them. I don't care if he's got to show them cork. I don't care if he's got to show them juice. Can we have somebody hit 40 home runs on the north side this season? That's one grievance. The other grievance is just for Chicago sports in general. My grievance is this. Chicago sports, you suck. You have turned a group of very happy people here at CHGO into the biggest group of bitterness you've ever seen. We're so angry after 3 years of this. What have you given us in 3 years to talk about? Nothing but anger.
Yep.
We've seen hats thrown, you name it. All we have is losing teams to talk about. Could you please, in 2025, give us one freaking playoff team in this town? And no, Jim, it's not going to be the White Sox. Sorry. We did have history this year. We thank you for that. But could we have one playoff team in Chicago? That's all we ask for. And I don't want it to be the Bulls, for God's sake. Go ahead and tank and start over.
Draft
all
Kasparis,
I want is a winner.
Jackasonis.
Jim's just trying to do his job in sales over there, and all we can do is complain and whine and sit here and read the chat that's complaining and whining and fighting. That's all we do anymore.
Yep.
We used to be happy people.
All
the sunny side in the world can't solve our problems right now.
Yeah. Edward in the chat says that me not knowing the history of the Cubs. What is the first comment? Cody, you should not be surprised the Cubs are behaving this way based on their history. Well, yeah, I know that. That's why I too have anxiety about the Kyle Tucker stuff. They did spend money in the offseason of 2015 going into 16, though. I will say that. It would be nice if they did that again. So, my other one will be stop prospect hugging.
Oh,
I'm so tired
or
of
humping,
prospect
as
hugging.
I say.
You said humping. Someone in the chat said, what did you just say, Luke? Whenever you said that earlier.
Hugging, whatever.
Stop. I'm so tired of this is not a slant to my guy Greg Huss, Greg Zumack, Brian Smith. They're all great dudes. And all of the experts out there. But I am so sick and tired of having to prospect hug, to care about this guy, that guy. You know who doesn't care about prospects? The Dodgers.
No, they don't.
You know, even the Padres don't care about the Dodgers, and they've been acting like a big market team, but they've been mid-market at best my entire life outside the last handful of years. It's not that I don't care about prospects, but I'm tired of them like being like so touted on a pedestal. I'm so tired of it. I care about the Chicago Cubs. I want the Chicago Cubs to be good. And I know that prospects are a big part of that. So you got to trade the right ones or whatever. I understand the importance. But, man, I'm so tired of dealing with the people that are like, oh, we already lost the Tucker trade. Just give me a break. God.
Gary says Chicago sports, Luke, have given you all the diehards and sickos to talk to. No, Gary, they already existed. They already existed. Now we're all just angrier than we were.
Yep.
The whole country's angry. And it all comes down to Chicago sports.
What else?
Anyways.
Do we have anything else?
We got one more live show coming up for the two of us the day after Christmas. Next 2 days are off, right?
Yeah.
Then Corey and Brendan come on Friday. Then we're the day after that. That'll be the last show of the year in 2025. We'll do some New Year's resolutions. Come up with that if you want to.
A little bold prediction for 2024.
Bold predictions, maybe bold predictions and New Year's resolutions. Yeah. We'll do all that. We want to thank everybody in the live YouTube chat that supported us all year long. We appreciate you and being here today.
Happy holidays.
Hope everybody has a happy, safe holiday season. And don't forget, thanks for checking out the CHGO Cubs Podcast. Make sure you follow us and subscribe to the YouTube page. Sign up to be a diehard if you haven't. We're still going to try and do everything we promised to do for you, right?
Yep. Still trying, man. Still trying.
And remember, on the 12th day of Cubsmas, well, it was the first day, Sammy coming back to Wrigley. Thanks for watching. See ya next time. Fly the W, please. Please.
We all silly like the mayor.